So first thing first, can you introduce yourself and what you do?
Okay. Hi, I'm Maria Noel de la Paz, and I'm the Acceleration Director at Magical, a VC fund from Chile.
Okay, so what Magical does in Chile?
So Magical invests in startups that are actually creating an impact on the critical issues of the region, of the Latin American region. And we invest in startups that are actually tackling that to make our region a better place.
It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't have to be from Chile.
No, it can be from anywhere. We don't have a specific location. However, we do request, or actually we think we can add more value to the startup if they're actually trying to expand to Chile, because that's our place. That's where we have our network and we have the knowledge, so that we can help with the soft landing and expansion. Or we also fund startups from Chile that they're actually looking to expand overseas, and those are our two investment thesis in terms of.
It's an amazing job, because actually it's really hard to find some players from Latin America, especially in Korea and Japan.
Yeah.
So it's really good to have you here.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I think for sure, and I agree with that. I think there's a lot of opportunities between Asia, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong. I was listening today to all the talks that were happening here, and I can see there's so much potential in connecting what is happening here in Asia with Latin America. And but the thing is that there's no bridge. So places like Fosterbridge, I think it's creating that, and that's why I'm so thankful for you guys inviting me and having me here, because I think we can put Latin America in the map, and there's a lot of things happening there that I think it could be a great match with what's happening here in Asia as well.
Right, yeah, makes sense. And this is your second time in Korea, right?
Yeah.
So what's your second impression of Korea? Not first impression.
Well, my second impression, I was here last year.
Right.
And it was my first time here, so I was learning little by little of how the Korean ecosystem works and who are the players here and what's happening. And I think I've arrived a couple of days ago, but I've seen, because I've been staying in touch as well with what's still happening here. And I can see that there's a really interesting focus on really having a growth in the startup ecosystem, and that before I think the borders were very closed, but now I think there's an intention of opening the borders to other players coming into Korea, and also having the Korean startups go abroad, maybe not to the the same goal, because last year when I came, everyone was said oh, we expand to the US. But now I am listening more and more that they're expanding to other countries in Asia, that there are other opportunities, that there are investors that are actually very interested in coming to Korea, and there's a lot of support for Koreans to go abroad. So I think in a year, it's been really impressive. I still need to dig deeper, but my first impression of coming back this second time around is that there's a lot of things that grew since the first time that I was here last year. So I think good job. Well done. Yeah.
So definitely you can see some progress compared to 23 and 24.
Yes, yeah, I can see some progress, especially with the focus. I think that's something that caught my eye last year, that there was a lot happening, but maybe there was not a specific focus. So there was a lot of money getting into a lot of support for different things. But I think now there's a lot of focus of what exactly you're targeting in terms of more of a country goal in terms of what you want to do in terms of startups and VCs, and I guess companies also are more involved. So I think it's been an interesting growth.
Okay, nice. Then let's shift to the questions.
What do you think?
Man, I'm here, so I don't feel any it's kind of like a frog in the pot.
Yeah, true. That's true. Actually, when you are part of it, you cannot see it with perspective. But I think that's my first impression after my time here last time, and now coming back, I think there's some more interest and openness.
Right, and let's shift to the questions for Fosterbridge. And this is like a common question. How much score you put for Fosterbridge, 1 to 10?
For me, I think it's a 10.
Okay.
Yes, because that's one of the things that last year I came, and there were not a lot of events, like English-speaking events, with people coming from abroad, and there were just a few, but in a very small scale.
Right.
And that's why I was very supportive of the Garrison, for example, that was doing a lot of events, and that's how I got to know the community better. But they were very small scale. Now seeing this event that's actually bringing 35, 36 people, I've done the research on all of them from like different regions, connecting with people from here, and there's Korean public that's actually very interested in learning more and connecting.
Right.
So I think this kind of events is very meaningful. If you want to target to be a more global nation, I think events like this are a must, and that's why it's a 10.
Makes sense. Then what we need to do, make it Fosterbridge score like 11 or 12 out of 10.
Well, maybe bring more Latin American VCs.
Okay.
Maybe have more, I don't know, representation from Latin America.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, I will think about it.
But I think the conversations that happened today, I was very impressed, and I learned a lot. Also, for me, I think there's a lot of events. I don't say only in Korea that I've been to, but also in Latin America and in other regions. Like usually, all the events are targeted to startups. So you have a lot of demo days or a lot of pitching, etc. But there's not a lot of events like this where there's VCs with VCs, accelerators with accelerators, how you're doing things, how we're doing things. And I think the point of collaboration, it's so strong and important in an ecosystem, because usually VCs, we're kind of lonely in the world, you know? In Latin America, we collaborate pretty much, like we co-invest or we, accelerators, not that much. So I think events like this, where you can talk to other VCs, you can talk to other accelerators, share good practices, understand what one is doing in another region that maybe it's not even in your perspective, that you can actually, plug and play to your own thing. I think it's very, very important to have experiences and conversations like this, and it's not that common. Because you don't randomly talk to someone on LinkedIn, hey, how you're doing in your VC,
it's weird, right?
Yeah. But here you're right next to people that have a lot of experience. Maybe they're a little bit ahead of you, or maybe some others are a little bit behind you, and you're experiencing and showing how you're doing it in your own region. And I think that collaboration is priceless for everyone.
Oh, makes sense. Okay. That's good point. We need those kind of events, and we need those kind of connections for sure. And it'll be the last question. So, like, any messages or any comments for your colleagues in Chile or family in Chile? Any message for them?
To the
you
camera?
can do it. Yeah, you can do it in the Spanish as well.
Un saludo a todos desde acá, desde Seúl, desde Corea, desde Fosterbridge, un evento muy lindo. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm so happy. And to everyone in Latin America, just map Asia as a great potential for collaboration. I know I'm always here and they say, Asians don't have us in the map, but we don't have Asia in our maps too. So I think there's a lot of potential of collaborating and following events like this and participating in events like this. And these conversations are going to make everyone grow and create something great together.
Yeah, thanks.
Gracias.
Thanks, Maria. Muchas gracias.
De nada, muchas de nada. Thanks for having me. It's really, really a pleasure.